All my life I thought being short was a disadvantage until I arrived in country and they told me I was walking point on patrol. Then I realized being short is a good thing. Over 6 million men and women participated in the Vietnam War. There are still 1,600 men and women unaccounted for from Vietnam. Thank you to all of you who answered the call and said, yes, I will go. And a special thanks to the family and friends who supported us when other people did not. You know, when people think of war, for some reason they tend to think of older people fighting wars. But you know, we were 18, 19, 20, 21 years old mostly. But when we came back, we were still pretty young, but we had aged a lot in that 1 year over there. Many Vietnam veterans came home angry about a lot of things. Some were angry about how the war was fought, and others were angry that when we came home, we were treated as if we were the enemy. But you know, over the years, you like me, we kind of made peace with everything. And it is my sincere hope that now we view ourselves as givers and not takers in this world. From the Vietnam experience, I sure hope our country has learned one thing, and that is when that decision is made to take up arms, is that we give them everything at their disposal to be successful and to support them when they come home. You know, it's my feeling that the mind has a tremendous healing power. Most of us, when we came home, we tend to kind of forget about some of those bad things that we saw and think about some of the fun things. And after all, when you get a bunch of 18, 19, and 20-year-old warriors together, it's going to be some funny things going on. And my guess is if we told all of it, we probably would be arrested before the day is over. Some of us remember, instead of using the little heat tabs to cook our ham and limas, we would pinch off a little piece of C4. And for you civilians that don't know what C4 is, it makes a big noise. Well, you take a little pinch of it, put it under your can, stand back and throw a match at it, and it cooks your food instantly. But the fun thing is to find a new guy in country and tell him, oh no, you need a bigger piece of C4 to cook your food. And then watch him as he jumped up and ham and limas was all over his body. So I think you're like me. We tend to think of the funny things, and we tease each other. And among the service branches, you know, we harass each other. And I know all the Marine jokes. I've heard them all. We got a few for you guys as well. But I can tell you, when it hits the fan, we're all fighting under one flag. And we pull together. I can remember one special night. If you know, you guys know what a killer team is. 5 guys go out and ambush, and you with a human sacrifice was what we used to call each other. But we're out there, and we made this ambush, and we thought we'd only ambushed a couple of Viet Cong. Well, it turned out we bit off a whole lot more than we can chew. And there were a lot more out there than we realized, and we were in serious trouble. Well, about that time, a helicopter flew over. And you know, the Marine Corps is real big on tradition and using correct radio procedure, but sometimes when you're in trouble and get a little excited, you don't use quite the procedure that they teach you in boot camp. But this Army guy up in his helicopter looked down and he saw all the tracers going in, coming out, and knew a lot of stuff going on down there. And he knew things weren't going well for us with using no radio procedure at all. He just said, guys, look like you could use a little help. Well, we assured him we'd appreciate any help he would give us. Now, at that time, in 1968, during the Tet Offensive, we'd never seen a Cobra before. All we were used to when a helicopter came over was an M60 working out. So we were kind of prepared to hear that M60. And he said, mark your pause and get down. You guys know what that means. Mark your position and get down. Well, we expected then to hear that M60 start cranking. Well, we'd never seen a helicopter, a Cobra, with that automatic grenade launcher. He lit up our world, and I think he leveled everything for 100 yards, scared the stew out of us. Well, the next day we went hunting to try to find out what in the world, because it's dark, we didn't know what was in that sky, but we sure were appreciative of it. And I'm going to tell you what, on that particular night, and maybe only that night, but there was 5 Marines that loved the Army. You know, the war, it's really expensive in terms of human potential. I think now of some of these 18 and 19-year-old kids that we put in plastic bags and sent home to their parents. You know, they could have been people who would have cured cancer or cured the common cold. There's so many things that these young people might have done had they had that opportunity. And I say to some of these people who are so quick to go to war, I say, before you make that decision, you talk to a couple who have been there first. And yeah, war is necessary sometimes. It's necessary to preserve our way of life. But think long and hard before that decision is made. But once that decision is made, there is no turning back. You give these young men and women everything they need to do their job and do it well. I sometimes think of the technology that's available now. When I was superintendent of schools, one of our employees, an Army guy, was at Fort Bragg, and he invited me to come and watch some of their live fire exhibitions, and I was amazed at the technology. And I think back now, as a young guy sitting in an ambush site, and the only thing you've got to work with is your ears, because it's really, really dark. And the darkest place in the world is Vietnam. When there's no full moon, you can't see the fingers in front of your face. So you sit and you listen very, very carefully. And now there's technology where you can see people from 50 and 100 yards away. There's computers, there's drones, and there's all those kinds of things that I think right now today, had we had that technology, how many 18, 19-year-olds would still be in America having families and being productive citizens that we lost? Over 25 years ago, I was privileged to return to Vietnam with 3-star Marine General Ron Christmas. He was the company commander that retook the city of Hue in 1968. We flew into Hanoi, and our job was to meet with some of the government officials in Hanoi and talk to them and encourage them to continue to be aggressive, to find crash sites and find anything they could find so that families could determine what happened to those 1,600 men and women that never came home. We then flew down into what we used to call South Vietnam. It's all one country now. And did the same thing. Every government official we could meet with, we kept meeting with them and say, you need to work with America and be more aggressive. Because a lot of people don't care, but there are a whole lot of brothers and sisters, moms and dads and children that do care, and they want to know what happened to their sons and daughters, to bring some closure. And I also asked him, I said, General Christmas, I'm a little lowly platoon sergeant. Being with a 3-star general is just quite a big deal. I was in awe of a 3-star. And I asked him, General Christmas, when the war was over and all you high-ranking officials were critiquing the war, what did you conclude was our one largest mistake that the Marine Corps made during that period? And he said, that's the easy answer. He said, in every battle, every war up to Vietnam, we trained as a unit, we went over and fought as a unit, we returned home as a unit. That's what esprit de corps is all about, with the exception of Vietnam. And if you guys remember, I guess the Army and Air Force, Navy, all you guys were much like the Marine Corps. You went over as an individual. You did your tour of duty, you came home as an individual. And that caused quite a problem among the platoons then, because you have these guys short timers. Remember when you got short and somebody would come up to you and ask you a question and you say, ask me quick because I'm short, I don't have time to listen to you. That's pretty tough on a guy that's just been there about 2 weeks to think, my gosh, I know what he looks like after a year, am I going to look the same way? like for you to travel down memory lane for just a second. I'm going to mention some terms to you, and I'll bet you it goes from the back of that computer to the front, as if you said it yesterday. Oh, those delicious sea rats. Incoming, find a hole. Corpsman up. Lock and load, earn your pay. Ruck up, move out. Keep your intervals. The song that I must have sang 1,000,000 times, you remember, we gotta get out of this place if it's the last thing we ever do. Short round, gonna be a bad day. Music by the Rolling Stones. White Phosphorus, or what we used to call Willie Pete. There's a guy named Jody that's been around for hundreds of years. You never had to worry about your girlfriend back in the world because you knew Jody was there taking care of your girlfriend. The best term of all is, I'm short and the freedom bird is coming soon. All Vietnam veterans can sleep well tonight, knowing you did your part. I've been to Rolling Thunder on my motorcycle for 18 consecutive years, to Rolling Thunder. And our purpose there is to remind this country about the POW and MIA issues. You ran towards the fight, not away. To people like my grandson, who as we speak today is at Parris Island. He graduates next Friday. You are the gatekeepers of American freedom, as we were 50 years ago. The Vietnam veterans will make sure that America will honor you. And as I told him before he left for the island, don't you worry. You will have a drill instructor who will love you. He will whisper sweet nothings in your ear. He will tuck you in at night, and they'll give you a free haircut and 3 squares a day. Got a letter from him the other day, and he said, Grandpa, when I went in that gas chamber, that place sucks. You know, we have this kindred spirit, and as I told him, I can't wait to see you on graduation day and welcome you to the brotherhood. You will be different, as I told his mother. She was not happy to hear that. But I told her, you gave him a little boy. You're going to get back a young warrior. Our nation stands as one today, and we thank all the men and women who answered the call. Hoorah! Semper Fi.